Thanks for joining us for this edition of CAPS 13 News. I'm Zane Hall.
And I'm Caleb with No. Technology, engineering, and education students from Pittsburg State took a trip to Kansas City for the International Technology, Engineering, and Education Association's annual conference. While there, these students competed against other schools across the country, and I took the trek to downtown KC to give a report on the action. The bus carrying Pittsburg State's TICA students was a little heavier coming home from KC than when it entered, after scoring multiple awards during the national competitions held in Kansas City's Crown Center. Pittsburg State students won multiple first-place awards, first of which came Thursday in the Educational Display Contest. This team was made up of senior Colton Graham and freshman Colin Potlery. The Educational Display Project was the students' chance to practice their knowledge of STEM education while actually proving they can teach it effectively. The team's Ed Display placed first, edging out Purdue and Old Dominion University. Educational Display was not the only first-place hardware that the PSU TICA team came home with, however, as they also won the communications category. I followed up after the conference with Sarah Arnold on what the communication competition was and how she feels her team did.
So our prompt was to create a movie trailer along with a movie poster that helped showcase our degree and our department.
I don't believe in ghosts, Sarah.
So our team placed first in our competition along with fan favorites. So it felt great to know that our work was seen, recognized, appreciated. I felt that our work was justified.
Pittsburg State also grabbed a second-place finish in live manufacturing. I talked to Joseph Polipek on how much work went into it and how he feels about the second-place result.
We had to design a lamp and come up with a process to manufacture it efficiently at the competition. We did about 75% of the work here at the lab and then about 25% at nationals. We competed against Fort Hays this year. We did pretty well. I think our product could have been done a little bit better and our notebook could have been done a little better, but you live and you learn.
And finally, I talked to Devin Elliott about what happened during the problem-solving competition and his thoughts on his team's performance.
Problem solving is a competition where we're given a design and then we're asked to create something to solve that problem. Not a design, but a problem. The problem can be anything. This year it happened to be create an automatic parking garage. We spent about 2 weeks total working on our problem solving thing. And then when we got to nationals, we were supposed to give a presentation, and then after the presentation we were given a new prompt, so we had to add on to what we did at home. We ended up in third place, and I think that's a pretty good indicator that we put enough time and effort into it. We were in the top 3. I think we did a very, very good job.
Transportation should also be noticed that they finished 4th, just barely missing a third-place finish by a few points, while Pitt State finished 2nd overall in the whole competition as they lost by 1 competition point to the Boilermakers of Purdue University. For CAPS 13 News, I'm Caleb with No. Next year's ITEEA conference and competitions will take place next spring in Baltimore, Maryland, while the next TICA competitions to happen will be the regional conferences taking place in a Midwest location in the fall of 2019.
An art installation in the Overman Student Center put on by Students for Violence Prevention aims to eliminate a myth about sexual assault. The What Were You Wearing art installation displays clothing and stories that answer the questions of many survivors of sexual assault get. The installation made with the hopes of teaching that clothing does not cause sexual assault. It features everything from bikinis to blue pajamas and even clothing belonging to men, children, in the hopes of fighting against the stereotypes of who sexual assault victims are.
I'm really hoping to change some people's minds about just readily accepting the phrase, well, what were you wearing? Or like feeling like that's okay to ask people when they hear that they have been sexually assaulted or raped or whatever, because that's not an applicable question at all. Really, the only people that should ever ask that is law enforcement or medical, simply for investigative purposes.
The first such art installation was displayed at the University of Arkansas in 2014. Visitors to the display are encouraged to come forward and not to stay silent about their own sexual assault stories.
The American Red Cross came to campus today to host a blood drive in the Student Center. The blood drive was sponsored by the Kansas Association of Nursing Students, Omicron Delta Kappa, and ROTC, according to the American Red Cross. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Cassandra No, senior in political science and justice studies, tells why she donates blood.
It's a really good feeling. That was the second successful donation that I've had. Really good feeling, especially after you donate, when they tell you where your blood is going, so you know that it's really saving lives. I do it because I know that there's a need for it.
The next blood drive will be held on April 8th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Student Rec Center. It will be hosted by the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks and sponsored by Pi Kappa Alpha. Coming up on CAPS 13, therapeutic recreation students held an event for children and adults with disabilities.
Plus, PSU broadcasting students are recognized for their hard work. We'll be right back.
I'm always the first one up. I'm always up for a challenge. I'll overcome any obstacle. I don't believe in limits. I refuse to be average.
Hey Guerrilla Nation, this is Stu Height, Chief of Police here at Pittsburg State. Hope you're off to a great semester, and we want to just give you a couple of reminders of how to take care of your valuables. Please don't ever leave them unattended for any length of time at all. We live on a very safe campus and a very safe community, but you can never be too safe. So if you ever need anything, if you have any questions, any concerns about anything ranging from parking or just safety and security, please feel free to call us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go Guerrillas!
The skills you can develop in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your interests in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment that you can transfer to an exciting new field. Get a head start on your career while serving part-time and earning money to pay for college. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Children and adults with disabilities within the surrounding area had an opportunity to visit Pitt State for the first ever TR-ific Day of Play. Brianna Price has more on the Day of Play.
Therapeutic recreation students held the first ever TR-ific Day of Play Friday, March 29th to provide a fun and activity-filled day for children and adults with disabilities. Participants came from various local organizations as well as over 10 different schools.
This is the first year that we have had the TR-ific Day of Play. We started first with the TR-ific Field Day, which happened about 2.5 years ago, and it was created by therapeutic recreation students here at Pitt State. When we first started with this event, we had 20 participants show up, and now today, of those that I know registered, we have around 150 or more participants here.
The TR-ific Day of Play was carnival themed and included activities like face painting, ring toss, bowling, a photo booth, and parachute games. The day was organized by 8 therapeutic recreation students.
I think it's just a great opportunity for them to get out of their just normal routine, get out here, have some fun. I know that days can get long, especially being in a classroom. The event was for persons with disabilities, so it was cool to get them out here. They were all on different functioning levels as well, but getting them in the community and being able to get them out of the classroom, out of the different centers, to just come out, relax, and have a day where they can just be themselves and have fun.
Covert Miller said the day is beneficial to both the participants as well as students who volunteered.
I was able to benefit just by getting all the practice and all the time. I think it's one thing to sit in a classroom and try to plan out things and learn, but with this major, it's been so cool because I felt like I've done so many things hands-on.
For CAPS 13, I'm Brianna Morey-Price.
PSU broadcast students in the Department of Communication are recognized for their hard work in the field. Dr. Troy Como, along with 6 students, attended the 2019 KAB Student Seminar, Career Fair, and Awards Luncheon held at KU. The seminar offered insight into the future of broadcasting and a chance to meet potential employers. Awards were also handed out over lunch for entries submitted to the Kansas Association of Broadcasters in undergraduate, graduate, and intern work in TV and radio. PSU Director of Media Production, Dr. Troy Como, says, quote, "I'm really proud of the students for being awarded for the work they do throughout the semester, and the seminar also allows the students to network with broadcast professionals in the field as a learning opportunity for them," end quote. PSU submitted 40 entries and 29 of those won. Those included 12 first place, 11 second place, and 6 honorable mentions. Coming up on CAPS 13, there's an exhibition of mining artifacts and other historic items in Franklin.
Plus, the Indian Student Association hosts an event to promote diversity.
Okay, let me check on that for you. It doesn't say we have any reservations.
What do you mean you don't have any reservations?
I'm sorry.
I came in and reserved this yesterday.
I guess they didn't.
Come on, like, let's get it together. My coffee tasted horrible this morning. I didn't study for my test and I failed it. Like, you're just adding on to my day for no reason.
I wasn't working yesterday. I wasn't the one that.
Get on it. I don't know. Is there something we can do?
Are you having a hard day? So is the person you're yelling at. Don't be part of the problem.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
8 miles north of Pittsburg on Highway 69 lies Franklin, a little town with a population of around 300. Within the Franklin Community Center and Heritage Museum, you will find Miners Hall, an exhibition of mining artifacts and other historic items.
CAPS 13 Barrett Young tells us more about Miners Hall.
The Franklin Community Center and Heritage Museum is home to Miners Hall. Alan Roberts, chairman of a board of trustees at Miners Hall, explains how Miners Hall came about.
This is called Miners Hall Museum because this originally was
a union hall for the United Mine Workers. That hall had been, it had been used for other purposes later, but this was the hall itself. When the tornado came through Franklin in 2003, it took this building as in the community center across the street and several of the homes in the area. And so a community center was built on this site, and then it was turned into a museum later. We deal basically with mining and coal mining. And so the artifacts that are held here, the pictures, the tools and those kinds of things are all based on the mining experience and the experience of those miners who came here to make their living. The community of Franklin was established back in 1907 as a coal camp. Many of the communities in southeast Kansas were originally coal camps. That's what brought a lot of the immigrants to southeast Kansas, and Franklin was one of those. At that time, a lot of the industry in the United States was based on coal, and there was a rich seam of coal that was discovered in southeast Kansas in the late 1800s, and so people came here to mine that coal. We think you should come to the museum here in Franklin for a number of reasons. The Amazon Army did marches, and they all began, believe it or not, here in Franklin, Kansas. In December of 1921, a group of women and children would gather here. Anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 women marched in those marches, and they would go to the mine sites and protest the conditions, trying to get the 8-hour workday, safety regulations in the mines, because it was a dangerous job, especially underground mining was a dangerous job. In addition to that, we are on what was called at one time the Jefferson Highway, the first transcontinental highway that was built going north and south, similar to Route 66 that went east and west. And so it's located right out in front of the museum, and across the street from this museum is the longest sidewalk connecting two communities, the community of Franklin and the community of Arma.
For a small community, Franklin has a lot of history to offer. For CAPS 13 News, I'm Barrett Young.
For a quick trip back into history, head to Franklin Miners Hall. You can find more information on the Miners Hall website at minershallmuseum.com.
The Indian Holy Festival of Colors helps to promote multiculturalism on the Pittsburg State campus. In keeping with the Indian tradition, students on campus are covered with colored powder while dancing and partying beneath sprinklers. Although the celebration has roots in Hinduism, Indian Student Association President Raj Thakur Dekor says he hopes that students will attend regardless of culture or religion.
This is one of the best events which usually happens in India, in which all the peoples are united, and I think that's the reason why I've been doing Holi event on the campus, just so we can match up with all the cultures, all the other organizations, and all the people from different countries.
The colors are used are with organic and will wash off easily with a shower. The event is held near Guerrilla Village and is free to all community members that want to attend.
We'll be right back with this week's movie review.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Now it's time for our cinema guru to give us the lowdown on this week's movies. So Zane, what was on this week?
Well, the only big movie that really came out was Disney's Dumbo, actually. For those of you who are not familiar with the Disney classic, Dumbo is about a baby elephant that gets made fun of for having abnormally large ears and is separated from his mother, who is trying to protect him from a crowd that was making fun of him. Eventually, Dumbo captivates the people that scorned him by using his ears to fly. Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton, had a lot of good moments, but overall, it was very disappointing. All the adults in the film did a great job acting. Danny DeVito was a fantastic ringmaster, and Michael Keaton was a brilliant antagonist. The kids who were the main characters in the film acted more like plot devices than characters. Millie Ferrier, played by Nico Parker, was interested in science, and that's her entire character. Her brother Joe Ferrier, played by Finley Hobbins, didn't even get that much. His entire purpose was to ask Millie questions so that she could talk about what she's doing. There was no big message or overarching plot throughout the entirety of the film. I would have liked even a cheesy believe in yourself trope, but we didn't even get that much in the film. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 46%, IGN gave it a 5 out of 10, fans scored it a 61%, and it's a 5 out of 10 for me, honestly. But next week, I will be covering Shazam and The Best of Enemies. This has been a movie review with your cinema guru.
Thanks, Zane.
And that does it for this edition of Caps 13.
Also, visit us on Facebook and Caps 13 at Caps 13 Pittsburg State University. Stay tuned to Caps 13 for more great programming.